Oh, we love San Diego. What a ballpark. Downtown Petco Park. It's a beautiful night for the Grand Ole game. And tonight we start the final road series of the year. The Brewers and the Padres, game one of this three-game series, getting one last glimpse of their Milwaukee Brewers on the road this year. Hi, everybody. We welcome you from Petco. Great to have you with us tonight. I'm Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Our reporter tonight is Telly Hughes. This night is going to be all about the future for the Brewers. We're going to interview David Stearns, new general manager. He's coming up in the third inning. And we're going to get a look at the Brewers' minor league pitcher of the year, Jorge Lopez, Rock, 22 years of age. This guy's got all kind of talent, all kind of promise.
Yeah, he's got big league stuff, according to a lot of the guys that have seen him pitch. But, he was the Southern League pitcher of the year. Only Tyler Wagner had a better earned run average than he did down in the Southern League. He's kind of had a breakout season this year. Brewers picked him up in 2011. Before that, he was a volleyball star, convinced to be a pitcher. We'll see how he goes. If this thing goes well tonight, pretty good chance he might pitch the last game of the season at Miller Park.
That would be Sunday against the Chicago Cubs. Jorge Lopez with some outstanding statistics this year. Now, this is all of Double-A, all the three leagues that make up all 30 teams in Double-A baseball. The best opponent batting average among that group. Lopez is the 12th Brewer to make his major league debut. That is a franchise record. Telly Hughes will visit with Rick Kranitz. We'll talk about all these kids when we come back from San Diego.
Where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places. And by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. San Diego is where the Brewers' final road series of the season will take place, with the Brew Crew and Padres getting geared up to open up a three-game set. Good evening from Petco Park, everyone. I'm Telly Hughes. Tonight, the Brewers' minor league pitcher of the year, Jorge Lopez, will make his major league debut and round out a rotation full of rookies that features not a single starter from the opening day roster. Taylor Youngman and his 20 starts makes him the most experienced starter in the rotation, with Tyler Cravey a distant second with 7 starts under his belt. This is certainly not the staff anyone envisioned, and for pitching coach Rick Kranitz, who has had to roll with the punches, focuses on implementing the Brewers' philosophy.
A lot of times what happens up here, young guys feel like they need to do more than what they really need to do to get these guys out. And, you know, their strengths are their strengths, and we need to stay with them and we need to live by them. So, you know, anytime I see a guy maybe try to do more than what he's capable of doing, you know, or I see him throwing pitches that I'm not used to seeing him throw to get out of a certain jam or whatever, you know, we need to get back into our strengths and just trust ourselves.
Can the Brewers make it back-to-back wins for the first time since their doubleheader sweep in Cincinnati on September 5th? BA and Rock will be back after the break with the first pitch and call next from San Diego.
Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. What a beautiful night here on the West Coast. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight under the lights of Petco Park. And the San Diego Padres. 75-degree night. The Padres hit the field. Craig Counsell managing for the first time at Petco Park. Got a record of 59-72 after he took over for manager Ron Renicky. The Brewers have 6 games remaining in the regular season. The last 3 games on the road this season right here in San Diego. Here's Counsell's lineup. Scooter Gennett, Logan Schaefer, and Adam Lind at the top of the order. Chris Davis, Domingo Santana, and Gene Segura make up the middle. And the bottom 3 for Counsell is Sardinas, Martín Maldonado, and Jorge Lopez making his major league debut tonight. And one of the league's best when he's right, Tyson Ross. Don't let that record fool you at 10-11. He's got an ERA of 3.17. He's one of the best strikeout pitchers in all of baseball.
Yeah, and he's been throwing the baseball pretty well. Last 5 starts, only a 1-2 record, but in that 1-2 record, he's got a 197 earned run average. He's given up only 7 earned runs in 32 innings work. He's got big-time swing and miss stuff. He's tied for the league lead in walks, but 6th in strikeouts. So he's the kind of guy who'll get men on base with the walks, but punch him out, and that's the equalizer.
Brewers already faced his younger brother Joe Ross with the Nationals earlier this year. How about the Brewers, or rather the Padres Menards defense tonight, Rock? Some new faces out there.
Yeah, about middle of the pack in team defense. You got Justin Upton in left field, Jankowski in center. Got Matt Kemp, who's having a pretty good season out there in right. Solarte, Jerko's a second baseman. He's moved to shortstop. Not much range, but he's doing a pretty good job over at shortstop. Spangenberg and Myers on the right side, and you got Hedges behind home plate.
And we are just about ready for baseball tonight. Jeff Nelson will call the balls and strikes. He's also the crew chief. Corey Blazer, Carlos Torres, and Laz Diaz are the base umpires. And all the pieces in place, ready for the first pitch tonight. 6 games left on the schedule. The Brewers will be here through Thursday night and then back home to start the final series on Friday as Tyson Ross delivers a fastball strike, and away we go. Jeanette back in that leadoff spot for Craig Counsell, and a ground ball through for a base hit. Scooter continues to swing the bat well. And a single to right will put a Brewer on to get this one started against Tyson Ross.
Jeanette has been pretty good at getting base hits to lead off games. I mean, it seems like just about every day he leads off getting on base. It was Schaefer that led off the last game against St. Louis, but once again, Jeanette getting things going early from Milwaukee.
Well, Jeanette now 7 hits on the road trip, 7 for 22. And here is Logan Schaefer. Brewers enjoyed an off day yesterday after a thrilling comeback win against the Cardinals on Sunday afternoon. Well, a lot of buzz about that game still, even after the off day down at the batting cage earlier today. Jason Rogers hit a grand slam to take it from a 3-1 game to a 5-3 lead, and then Chris Davis hit a 3-run home run in that inning.
That ball coming off their closer. Impressive win for Milwaukee. That was the last home game for the Cardinals, and that's a good way to end it for the Brewers to spoil the party.
Cardinals went to Pittsburgh last night. They won. They were rained out tonight, so they are postponed, and they'll have to make that game up. Cardinals have a 4-game lead in the National League Central to start play today, and their magic number is dwindling down. Schaefer coming in batting .236. Has a homer and 6 runs batted in. And there is a strike from Ross. Looking forward to tonight's broadcast. We're going to get our first look at Jorge Lopez. We're going to sit down for an inning with new general manager David Stearns. So all eyes starting to focus in on 2016, and the Brewers continue to roll out these rookie starting pitchers. Jeanette takes off, and Schaefer a little ground ball to third.
How about that swing by Schaefer? Boy, talk about a hit and run. Schaefer doing a good job putting it in play. I think that pitch might have hit him in the legs had he not been able to get a piece of it. Check out this swing. Able to get a bat on it, gets it on the ground, eliminates the double play because Jeanette was on the move, and he's in scoring position. Good piece of hitting, good bat control by Logan Schaefer there.
So here's Adam Lind now. Adam on a 20-homer season this year. He's had a good year at the plate. He's been a little better defensively than was advertised coming from the Toronto Blue Jays. Takes a strike from Ross. It's a good matchup here for Lind. He's 5 for 6 in his career and has a home run. And he's a very patient hitter as well. And Ross does walk a lot of batters. And that one's lined back up the middle in a base hit. Here comes Jeanette. He's going to try to score. The throw is cut off. Scooter is in, and the Brewers strike first tonight. Adam Lind with an RBI single, 1-0 Milwaukee.
Yeah, both the base hits coming on breaking pitches that stayed up in the strike zone. Yeah, Scooter with his base hit. Now Lind able to get to one that just spins up there. Doesn't do anything. And Adam able to hit it hard into center field. And Jankowski playing deep. No play on Scooter as he crosses home plate. There's a good start.
Yeah, 2 hits in the inning. The Brewers have a run in. All smiles for Adam Lind, who drives in his 87th run of the season. And here is Chris Davis now. Well, you show up at the ballpark as that one gets away from Hedges. Over to second goes Lind on a wild pitch.
Yeah, wild pitch, but probably one that he should have blocked. It didn't look like it bounced in front of home plate too much. So another base for the Brewers. They're off to a good start.
They're going to give him a pass ball on that, Rock.
I was going to say, yeah, that was one that he should have had.
So Lind at second on a passed ball. Gives Davis a chance to drive in a run. He showed up at a new ballpark on the road, and you talk to the Padres media and their broadcasters, and everybody wants to know about Chris Davis. If he's the real deal, and he's been hitting home runs like the real deal since August 6th.
That leads the team now in home runs. Passed Ryan Vaughn yesterday.
He's hit 19 home runs since August 6th. He had a 10-homer month of August. He's hit 9 in the month of September. And his home run on Sunday was the put-away punch for the Brewers in that 7-run inning. He had 2 homers in that game. He got Lackey early, and then that was in the 9th inning. 25 and 26 on the Powerball home run count.
Yeah, that one just didn't come down. A high, majestic home run, and just kept carrying up off Trevor Rosenthal. Some kind of hot Chris Davis. He's got the confidence going. Hitting breaking pitches, fastballs, doesn't matter. And really not pulling him too much. He's going to center field quite a bit.
Man, what a surge he has been on in the last 2 months of the season. Chris Davis, he's homering in at-bats fewer than 9 per home run right now. And that is a check swing, ball 4. Davis draws the walk, and this good start continues for Milwaukee. 2 hits and a walk, and that's going to bring a visit from the San Diego pitching coach, Darren Balsley.
A lot of sliders by Tyson Ross so far. He's got a really good fastball. Low to mid-90s with the heater. He's got some sink and some cut on it. He's thrown a lot of breaking pitches and hasn't been throwing too many good ones. Every pitch to Davis in that sequence is slider but one. And oddly enough, the only strike that he threw was on a fastball. As we mentioned, leads the National League in walks. He just passed his teammate, James Shields.
Yeah, those two are 1-2 in all of the National League. Not a record you want to have for the season. However, when you combine it with the strikeouts that Ross does, he does have the ability to pitch his way out of these kinds of messes. So 2 on for Domingo Santana. The 6'5" Tyson Ross against the 6'5" Domingo Santana.
And that's the pitch that Santana's going to have to learn to lay off of, that slider. And when they hang, it's one thing, but certainly first pitch, you don't want to be chasing the slider off the plate.
Santana's been in a little bit of a slump here on this road trip. He's just 2 for 20. Making his 30th start for Milwaukee. Has appeared in 34 games now. 30 of those are starts, and most of those starts have come as the center fielder, but with Ryan Braun out for the rest of the year on his way to back surgery, Santana slides over to right field, which is a more comfortable spot for him, his natural position. This goes to show you, though, the thinking was, well, he'll get back to his comfortable defensive position, and then he'll probably start to hit again. That hasn't been the case, but peaks and valleys.
Well, he didn't look too bad in center field for my money. I mean, not really a center fielder, I think, as you look at his future, but he did a pretty good job out there, but much better in right. Going to be a streaky hitter, at least for a period of time. Young hitter, free swinger. Shows signs of being patient.
Now the overall numbers are really good. If you just combine all of his numbers from AAA to the big leagues, Santana's at 26 home runs and has 93 runs batted in. And a batting average over 320 in all those spots. 2 on, and a swing and a miss. Down he goes, and that's the ability of Tyson Ross to get himself out of jams. That's a strikeout, the first of the night, second out of the inning.
Yeah, threw a lot of sliders. I'm not sure any of them were for strikes. Everything was off the outside corner, but well, once again, Santana's going to have to learn to lay off that pitch, or that's all he's going to get. He starts laying off that pitch, then he gets the fastballs. Those are the ones that he hits hard.
So Domingo is out number 2. Here is Gene Segura. And a fastball strike. You see Ross has good velocity, and that's his hover spot around 93, 94 miles an hour. He can reach back and get into the 96 mile an hour range, 97 if he needs it.
Cruising speed about 93 to 94.
And a big chopper that is over the head of Solarte. Adam Lind will come in to score easily. Davis on his way to third, and they'll hold him there. Boy, a big bouncer that goes over the head of the Padre third baseman. And the Brewers have hung a couple of runs on Tyson Ross in his first inning.
Yeah, double for Segura, driving in a run. And beats that one into the ground, and a big hop over Solarte's head down the line. Adam Lind able to score easily from second base, and Chris Davis took a wide turn around third. Eddie thinking about it, and holds him up.
It looked like Upton had a little trouble with it out there in left field. Not enough for Davis to score. Double and an RBI for Segura. And that'll get Sardinhas to the plate. Now think about the last 2 offensive innings for Milwaukee. 7-run ninth inning in St. Louis. They put 2 on the board here tonight. And looking for more here with 2 outs. Sardinhas in the air, left field. Upton toward the line. He makes the catch in fair territory, and that will retire the side. But a good start tonight for the Brew Crew. 2 runs in, and now a Major League debut coming. As 22-year-old native of Puerto Rico, and his Major League debut tonight after a stellar season in the minor leagues. Pat Murphy and the San Diego Padres. Craig Counsell's old college coach at Notre Dame. Here's his batting order tonight. He's got Will Myers leading off, Yangervis Solarte batting second, and Matt Kemp. Justin Upton, Jed Jerko, and Corey Spangenberg in the middle of the order with Austin Hedges, Tyson Ross, and Travis Jankowski. Note the pitcher bats 8th in this Pat Murphy lineup. And those are the numbers from AA Biloxi for Jorge Lopez. Those are outstanding statistics.
Yeah, look at the strikeouts. Only almost a strikeout per innings pitched, a 12-5 record. Outstanding work. A breakout season for Jorge Lopez. Brewers picked him up in 2011. He's 6'4", 185 pounds, out of Calle, Puerto Rico. And you see those numbers, that earned run average of 226. After the All-Star game in AA, a 167 earned run average.
And his first batter faced in the big leagues will be Will Myers, who's bounced from the Royals to the Rays, now to the Padres. And the center field experiment with Will Myers is over. That was something we saw a lot of this spring. He's a first baseman now, at least they hope he's going to be. Did not play on Sunday. He's had a chronic wrist problem, his left wrist. And it flared up, knocked him out of Sunday's game. The Padres had yesterday off as well. Back in there tonight. Oh, there's a good sign. His fastball coming out of the bullpen, 95 miles an hour.
Yeah, a little bit of sink on it. Both pitches a little bit low. I guess if you're going to miss low. Let's see how he operates here in his first major league start. Yeah, get through that first inning. I think he calmed down a little bit. I guess important for him to have a relatively clean, quick first inning. Get that confidence going.
Under the watchful eye of Rick Kranitz, who's done yeoman's work this year with so many young pitchers. Lopez is the 12th Brewer to make his major league debut this year. That has established a new franchise record. This is the year to do it. Find out who you got, who's going to make a run next year. As Myers turns that one around, that's deep. And Schaefer is there to make the catch. A night game at Petco Park. That's where fly balls go to die.
Yeah, heavy air here. We're right next to the ocean, and that's not going to go very far. It says only 396 out to center field, but it plays a lot deeper than that. I mean, that was straight as a string on a 2-1 count. That's a home run in a lot of ballparks. I think Lopez thought it was out. He says, I see what you're talking about, Martin. I can make some mistakes in this ballpark. You keep them in the alleys. You know, gap to gap, you're going to be all right.
Here is Solarte, and a good fastball in there for a strike. Big outfield, and that marine air feels like it is tough to get out. They're similar to Dodger Stadium in LA. Now, earlier in the season, that was not the case here. This is one of those unusual weather years where both the Padres and the Dodgers were hitting a ton of home runs in their home ballparks to start the year. They have a lot of talented hitters, but a lot of home runs. That's a swing and a miss in the first strikeout. I was wondering what Maldonado was doing, but he was saving the baseball there.
Yeah, check it out. This is what we were talking about. This is a nice curveball. Might have been up a little bit, but you see Solarte with a big hack over the top of it. A lot of these hitters have never seen Lopez before, and Maldonado, nice calming influence behind home plate. One of his countrymen.
So his first big league strikeout comes to Yangervis Solarte, and now he'll face Matt Kemp, a former MVP who was having a great year. Former MVP candidate, I should say. Finished second to Ryan Braun, 2011. Kemp has 99 runs batted in this season. Has 23 home runs. He's given him a lot of punch offensively. His RBI is good enough for third in the league. He's tied with Chris Bryant. Arenado is a runaway train in Colorado with the Rockies, 126. But Kemp has a chance to become the third into the triple digits this season.
Yeah, one of the few bright spots offensively for San Diego, who are down near the bottom in just about every category. Batting average, runs scored. They don't hit a lot of home runs. I think his ballpark has a lot to do with that.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Count remains at 1-2. Kemp's dealt with all kinds of injury problems, namely in the most severe, the shoulder problems. And he only played in 73 games 2 years ago, had a bounce back year for the Dodgers last year, had an even better year this year in his first year as a Padre. Look out, up and in. Lopez backs Kemp out of there.
He's got enough on his fastball that can leave a mark. That one just misses the hands as Kemp gets out of the way. Up and in. Maldonado for a second, I think, was trying for an appeal.
I saw the same thing.
But then I think he thought better of it.
He's got the stickers on the fingernails, so you can see the signals better. 2-2 pitch. And a high fastball got him. How about it? Welcome to the big leagues, Jorge Lopez. Back-to-back strikeouts in a scoreless first.
Well, Brewers up 2-0 as we head to the second inning here at Petco Park. And next Sunday it's the Brewers and Cubs at 2 o'clock. And all fans at the ballpark to see the Brew Crew take on the Cubs for the final game of the 2015 season. We'll receive a Brewers Retro knit cap. For tickets, call 414-902-4000. Or go to brewers.com today.
Get you ready for wintertime. The knit caps. I like those. Jorge Lopez, what a start, huh?
Going to need them soon, those knit caps. But yeah, that's impressive. I mean, showing some poise. He got behind the count a couple of times, but able to come back. Good curveball and showed a lot of guts throwing fastballs to Matt Kemp.
Back-to-back strikeouts. His battery mate, Maldonado, leads off. Brewers brought 7 batters to the plate in the first inning, scored twice. RBIs from Adam Lind and Gene Segura. Segura had a double. And Lopez preparing for his first major league at-bat. Maldonado on the ground to short. Jed Jerko is over there these days, and he makes a play for out number 1. And Lopez will stride to the plate for the first time. At the AA level, pitchers do hit for themselves when they match up against National League opponents. And this year at Biloxi, Jorge Lopez had 8 hits. Had a couple of doubles, as a matter of fact, and he drove in 4 runs. He hit for a .250 batting average this year. Actually drew a walk. So the book on him is that he's a very good athlete. He's wasted no time, right? Up there hacking away. That a boy.
What do you think? He's a setter or a spiker?
He looks like a spiker to me.
I would think so. Yeah, 6'4". Good athlete. Fields his position well. And very happy to be in the major leagues.
And he is out, and he goes down swinging. He was going to get his money's worth. His first big league at bat ends in a strikeout. Second strikeout for Ross. 2 outs in the second. Back to the top of the order now, and Scooter Gennett had a leadoff single in the first and a run scored. Brewers had 3 hits in that first inning. Scooter scored on the Adam Lind RBI, and there's a bouncer in the hole. Tough play for Jerko. No chance.
Yeah, he wouldn't have had a play on that. Not enough arm. Not a whole lot of range for Jerko. If he can get to it, he's going to make the play, but certainly not a prototypical shortstop with a big arm and a big range.
That is the major hole for the San Diego Padres. They have been hunting for a shortstop since spring training. They really haven't been able to find that shortstop that they can call their own. Been a lot of talk about the Padres maybe pursuing Ian Desmond this offseason, the fine national shortstop. And a lot of questions about whether Pat Murphy will be the manager here next year. He replaced Bud Black. And Murphy was the AAA manager in El Paso. New general manager A.J. Preller, who actually, it was reported, got fined today, the Padres organization, for some illegal international scouting. Schaefer pops it up, gets jammed. It's in foul territory, and that will retire the side. So Tyson Ross comes back, gives up an infield hit, but a scoreless second inning.
Two-0 lead as Jorge Lopez gets set to work his second inning of duty here at Petco Park. And Lopez became the 12th player to make his major league debut. That set a new Brewers franchise record for debuts in a season, and 6 of those 12 have been pitchers. And I had a chance to talk to pitching coach Rick Kranitz about handling all these young guys, and even just down to the dialogue of what you talk about and what's different between all these young guys versus veterans. And Cranny told me that it's not a whole lot of difference there, but the main thing is veteran pitchers, they are able to move on, whereas younger guys, they tend to dwell on something that may not have gone the way they wanted to, and they have it carry over. But nonetheless, Rick Kranitz has done a great job getting these young arms acclimated to the big leagues, and he said, hey, you just do what you have to do and just try to teach them the right way to go about it.
It's got to be tough on Rick Kranitz, because he really didn't have a whole lot to go on when these guys come up here. I mean, Jorge Lopez, a guy that I think he probably seen a little bit in spring training, maybe went over there and saw him, but really not a baseline as to what was he doing when he was pitching well. And I would imagine there's a lot of communication between Kranitz and the guys down in the minor leagues as to what to look for, maybe some buzzwords to remind him of throughout the game. So Kranitz has been working overtime with a lot of these young pitchers.
Well, that fastball looks really good early. It's got life. It's got good velocity. He's hit 96 miles an hour already tonight. And Justin Upton sitting dead red on a fastball, and Lopez just blew it right by him. Here's a 2-2 now, and that one right down the heart. Lopez spotting it on the edge, and Upton is a strikeout victim, and that's 3 consecutive strikeouts for Jorge Lopez.
And again, he had 137 strikeouts and 143 innings down at Double-A. That one right at the bottom of the strike zone. Jeff Nelson, the home plate umpire, ringing it up. Well, you like the way he's able to keep that fastball down when he wants. We've already seen him elevate the fastball pretty well to get that strikeout to Matt Kemp.
Here's Jed Jerko now, who hits 5th in this lineup. He's swinging at the first pitch. Nice easy ground ball to Scooter Gennett.
Now let's check out the Menards Brewers defense. You got Davis, Schaefer, and Santana in the outfield. Pretty much going to be your outfield alignment for the rest of the way, give or take. Now Sardinius gets a start at third base. Segura Gennett up the middle. Adam Lind at first, and Martin Maldonado behind home plate. It's got to be comforting for Jorge Lopez to be throwing to a countryman, Martin Maldonado, both from Puerto Rico. He's got the all gray catching gear.
And he deals strike 1 to Corey Spangenberg.
I was talking to Jason Schauger today before the ball game, in charge of the equipment.
Yes.
Martin has had 16 different catching gears this year. He's ordered 16 different sets of gear.
There's a base hit by Spangenberg, the first hit of the night for San Diego.
All shapes and sizes and colors. And I asked about Lucroy. How many does Lucroy has? Have one.
And then the Stars and Stripes catching gear that he had that was that he auctioned off.
Other than the one that he auctioned off, right.
Who's on the hook for that, Rock? Is that a ball club situation?
No, that would be all-star catching gear. They foot the bill for that.
Well, that's nice of them.
Lucroy is very cost-efficient. Maldonado, not so much.
It's like a new pair of shoes. I mean, Maldonado hasn't caught much more than 16 games all year.
These guys don't pay for anything anymore.
Wow. It's a good gig. Come to think of it, I could use a new set of gear myself.
You need some? I got some in my basement.
No, I want some new gear for, not used, not game used. Bill Schroeder equipment.
Believe me, most of my gear is not game used.
Bullpen approved,
right?
Not game used.
Got a couple of smudges on it, but that's not from the game.
There's a pop-up into shallow right field. Long way to go, and it's dropped. Santana misplayed it. That has been a major area of concern for the Brewers. They are not performing well on mid-range fly balls between infielders and outfielders, and that's another mistake.
Yeah, there is no way that ball can drop in the major leagues. I mean, that's an easy play. Even with Santana playing deep, he's fast enough to be able to make that catch. Goes off the glove. Got to believe that's an error. I mean, there's no way that's a hit.
An error on Santana it is.
Now, you like to, chalk that up to youth, but that's not youth. That's just a bad play.
And it shouldn't, but it probably still goes back to that big collision between Herrera and Shane Peterson at Miller Park. It just, for whatever reason, I think that's the 4th fly ball that has been misplayed since that collision.
I mean, there shouldn't even have been any question who was going to catch that baseball. That is not Scooter Gennett's play. And he goes out there because he doesn't hear anybody call it. That's Santana's ball all the way. He's got to make that catch. He's got to call Scooter off and make that catch easily.
First and third, the pitcher Ross is at the plate. He handles the bat pretty well, does Tyson Ross. And they've got him batting 8th. Ross is hitting .245 and has a home run this year. Has 13 hits, a double, a homer. He's driven in 5. And he draws walks. His on-base percentage is actually at .281. So he is no slouch at the plate.
And this is where hitting the pitcher 8th really comes to hurt you. The Padres use their pitcher, at least Ross, hitting 8th. You got Jankowski, the outfielder, in the 9th spot. And with 2 outs, a couple of men on. Jorge Lopez has the benefit of having to deal with a pitcher instead of a position player.
Well, jam shot foul. And a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, the book on Lopez is that he pitches with a lot of poise. You rarely see any facial expression. He is in complete control of his space. He hasn't been pitching very long. As Rock mentioned, he was a volleyball player. He's got a fresh, young arm, even younger than his 22 years of age. And those who have been around him give a lot of credit to Double-A pitching coach Chris Hook. He's a guy that has acquired a lot of knowledge in a short amount of time, and he will get out of the inning. Brewers commit an error, but Lopez gets the pitcher to ground out, and 2 scoreless in the books for Lopez. Brought to you by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. By Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. And by Hupy and Abraham. 800-800-5678. Hupy and Abraham. Tell them you mean business. Well, with our sights set on the future, we are at San Diego's Petco Park. 2-0 Brewers. A 2-run first inning. And new general manager David Stearns is here. Thanks for coming on with us. You flew all the way to San Diego just to be with us.
Just for this. That was the whole reason of the trip.
Right. Very good to meet you and be able to talk to you. I know our fans are really interested to hear what you have to say. You've been going through the rounds with some of the media today and, of course, your press conference. It's hard to believe you've been on the job a week. A little over a week. Feels like you've been here longer than that.
It does, although to me I'll say it feels like one continuous day because there's been plenty of action along for the week, but it's been a great week. The entire organization has been incredibly welcoming, and it's really been a pleasure.
How much Brewers swag have you been able to acquire in the early going?
I've gotten a fair amount thrown at me, so
okay, good.
I've got a complete wardrobe now to keep me through spring training.
You look like a size large if you.
That's exactly right.
You
have any extras?
Maybe I was thinking the other way.
Okay,
You're the
I
GM
gotcha.
now.
He's been around longer than I have.
It doesn't work that way.
You just get used stuff out of him.
Yeah.
So where's the process, David, begin for you? I mean, you got a lot of work to do in the off season. Where do you begin, and what's your process?
There is a lot of work. Anytime you're entering an off season, it's a lot of work, regardless of whether you're just coming to a new organization. For me, the process begins in getting to know the people who are already here, getting to know the front office, getting to know Craig and his staff. And that's going to take a little time. It's going to take a lot of conversations, a lot of phone calls. But I've been able to start that through the first week here, and it's worked quite well.
You've had a lot of discussions with Craig Counsell. Your thoughts on how his progress has come as a general manager and how you two are going to be able to work together.
So as I was interviewing for this position and got the idea that I might be a serious candidate, I began to do my own research on Craig. And Craig has a tremendous reputation throughout the game as a very good communicator, a guy who players play hard for, and a guy who's open-minded to all sorts of information, all sorts of strategies, and that's been exactly what I found. We've talked extensively every day since I've gotten the job, and it's really been a pleasure to get to know him.
He said something to us yesterday or the other day on the trip here from St. Louis. He said, you guys have had great baseball conversations. We were assuming that you'd be having all baseball conversations, but what's the difference in what he's talking about and maybe what we're thinking? There's a lot more to your job than just baseball, obviously. I mean, you have a lot to deal with from your administrative seat.
There is. There are many aspects of a general manager's job. Some of them are administrative. Some of them are more purely baseball focused. And I think where Craig and I have begun our relationship is discussing primarily those baseball-related, talent-related, baseball philosophy subjects. We see eye to eye on a lot of them. Some of them we have our discussions about, but the one thing I've appreciated with Craig is that he's honest with his opinions, and he's open to hearing my thoughts as well. And really, for a GM-manager relationship, that's what you have to hope for.
Right. How has Doug Melvin helped you so far? I mean, is he going to continue to help you, or what are the kind of discussions you've been having with Doug?
Yeah, Doug's been a general manager in this game for 20 years. He has a tremendous amount of experience, and he's been really invaluable through this first week, giving me tidbits of advice. Doug, you guys know him well. He's not one to step on toes or in any way to impose, but he is very good at giving little kernels of wisdom. And he's been able to help me through the process, both in terms of getting to know the organization and communication with the staff and the guys who are already in the front office. So it's been great to have him. It's going to be great to continue to have him. Doug's going to be around. I know he's going to be a helpful advisor throughout this entire process, and it's a tremendous benefit to a new GM to have someone like that.
He brings a lot of Canadian history with him too, which I'm sure he'll be brushing up on.
He hasn't dropped that on me yet, but I'm sure it's coming at some point.
And that. We got a walk here. Chris Davis is aboard, so a man on with one out. We're visiting with David Stearns, the new Brewers general manager. And I'll only do this one time. I'll introduce you as the 30-year-old Brewers general manager. It is because I don't think age has so much to do with it, but it is remarkable that you have this job at 30 years of age, right? I mean, your career is just rocketing up to this top post in baseball. Did you see this happening this fast, or when did it become a reality that this might be a possibility at your age?
I'm not sure it became a reality until Mark offered me the job. You get into this game, and as you begin to progress through baseball operations, your hope one day is to help run a team, and whether that's as a director of baseball operations or an assistant general manager or general manager, what you want to do is be able to impact the product that's on the field. We all get into this because we're competitive people. We love to win. We love baseball. And you want to be able to impact what's going on out there. And to be able to progress to the point where I'm now the ultimate decision maker on the baseball side is extremely rewarding. I certainly can't necessarily say that I predicted this, but it's been a wonderful ride. I've had a chance to work with some tremendous people along the way, and I've learned a ton, and I'm looking forward to applying it to this job.
Well, you've made a major impact in the game for not being in the game for so long. I mean, you've had a nice career in the game, working in the commissioner's office and a graduate of Harvard. as you go through the steps. The Indians, the Astros, most recently assistant general manager with the Houston Astros. So that leads us to our man at the plate here, Domingo Santana, and you were heavily involved in that deal that sent 4 players to the Brewers. So what's your perspective on this trade now that you're here and watching Santana in the big leagues?
That was one of the tougher trades I've ever been involved with, and those are the types of trades that when you make them, you say, no, this one has a chance to be really good for both sides. And they were made by 2 organizations that were in a different point in their season from a competitiveness standpoint. The Astros were looking for a guy like Carlos Gomez. George Springer had just gone down for what at the time appeared to be an 8-week to 10-week injury, and the Astros needed some additional pop and consistency from the center field position, and they were able to also round out their roster with Mike Fiers, and in return the Brewers got a tremendous haul of prospects, and Domingo's the guy who's been most impactful at the major league level. He's clearly a guy with a tremendous amount of power that will play well at Miller Park. And then there are 3 guys behind him, one of whom you saw the other night in Adrian Hauser, who all have a chance to contribute at the major league level in the not too distant future. So it's certainly been a boon to this franchise to get those 4 young players, all of whom are pretty close. And I'm certainly happy to have them on my side as we move this thing forward.
Your side again.
Yeah,
right?
and
that's exactly right.
And that's the thing. I mean, everybody talking about, the Brewers minor league system, not real strong. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's been the talk. But with the draft picks this year and the the first-year player draft and the trades that have been made, I mean, all of a sudden it's kind of stockpiled. 2 of your biggest prospects, Arcia and Phillips, aren't here, but they're pretty close.
That's right, and the draft has
Davis picked off here. That'll be a caught stealing for the second out. Davis was on the move. Ross with a very quick move, able to cut him down for the second out. Go ahead, David. And between the draft that the Brewers put off this year and some of the trade deadline acquisitions, and we just talked about a big one with the Gomez-Fiers trade, this has been a system that's restocked. It's taken a pretty sizable jump in just a year's time, and that's encouraging. And that was a step that this organization needed to take. Doug and his group did an excellent job executing, and it's my job to continue that. Our visit with David Stearns, new Brewers general manager, will continue in a moment. The Brewers done in the 3rd, and it's 2-0 Milwaukee after the Santana strikeout. Lopez returns to the mound after this. Nothing behind Jorge Lopez in our visit with new Brewers general manager David Stearns. Continues here from San Diego. Your first chance to see the ball club live. I'm sure you've been watching and listening, but your perception of the ball club before you took the job and then as you start to build your
your Rolodex of information on the players now. What are you seeing from this team, and what's your philosophy moving forward?
One thing that jumps out immediately is that we have a team that plays hard, and this is a tough stretch, a 10-game road trip at the end of September for what's been a long year for a lot of these guys, and there's no quit, and that's been really encouraging, and I think it speaks highly to number one, the character of players we have on the team, but also to what Craig and his staff have been able to instill in these guys throughout the year. And we've seen it at times. It's led to some scary collisions where guys are going hard after the ball, and we saw that with Herrera the other week. But that's what's jumped out to me most poignantly. I'm not going to sit here and try to make evaluations on individual players over the course of a week. We have a lot more information and a lot of people to talk to make those types of evaluations. But for someone who's coming new to the organization to see the effort level that these guys take to the field every single day is very encouraging.
And Mark was saying that in his search for a general manager, he wanted somebody with an analytical background. You fit that bill. How much do analytics and just live scouting, are they going to play a part in your decision making?
Both are integral. We need both. The best organizations right now are doing an excellent job of combining the analytical information that's becoming increasingly available to all clubs with expert scouting opinions. And I think the Brewers have a number of very qualified scouts, and we have a burgeoning analytics department. If we can continue to grow both of those groups, continue to get the best information we possibly can, we're going to give ourselves a chance to make smart decisions, and that's what this is all about.
Well, we're getting a good look tonight at Jorge Lopez making his major league debut. And I'm sure it's been a bit of a whirlwind for you, but I'll tell you, he is impressive right now. For his first big league game, he looks like he's been out here all year.
It really is. He's the poise out there, and getting that first out with the deep fly ball to Schaefer in the first inning, I think, helped a little bit.
Right ballpark to pitch in.
Right ballpark, right center fielder to have out there.
Right, yeah.
And he's done a great job. The fastball has shown pretty dynamic life. He's a guy in the minor leagues who, throughout his career at times, has had the command evade him. It hasn't so far today, although it just goes to a 3-ball count as I'm saying that. But obviously we've seen the swing and miss curveball already. That's going to be a staple for him along the way.
Segura winds it up and a long throw in time for the out. Good play on Will Myers for the second out. 2 up, 2 down for Jorge Lopez. We're visiting with David Stearns. Of course, we're getting quick innings here, which we're happy with Jorge Lopez. But real quick on the personal side of things, I know you're engaged. Your fiance's Whitney, right?
That's
She's
correct.
In Milwaukee. I mean, I'm always curious to know what that conversation was like.
You know, it was really wonderful. She's tremendously supportive, very much looking forward to moving to Milwaukee. And as we went up there for the press conference and got to know the community, we were both blown away by how welcoming both the organization and community were. And it just made us want to move there faster.
You like snow, do you?
I will learn to like snow. I'm looking forward to all of the sport activities that snow provides,
right,
which I haven't experienced in Houston. So it's going to be an adventure. We're both really looking forward to it, and really the people of Milwaukee and the entire Brewers organization has made it a really special week.
You're getting recognized already, right?
Yeah.
Airports,
Airport,
taxi cabs.
but recognizing my fiance as well, which is unbelievable. So yeah, the days of anonymity in my home city, I think might be over for a little while, but that's okay. It speaks to how much the city cares about baseball.
Great fans here.
They're recognizing a general manager just a few days after he's announced. So I certainly would prefer it that way than a fan base who doesn't care. It's wonderful.
At the risk with 2 outs here, give us just quickly your thoughts. What's next step for you? When as much of a timeline as you can give us on what is important next for you?
So continuing the process of getting to know Craig, his coaching staff, and the front office remains priority one. And the closer we get to the offseason, and ultimately the closer we get to the end of the World Series, we need to formulate our offseason plan. And so we have a compressed timeline. Most of the times as organizations are really beginning to zone in on their offseason plan right about now. and we're going to have to wait another couple weeks until I get more comfortable with our staff until we can do that. But I'm confident we can. We have a very dedicated group of people who are eager to get this thing going, and I'm looking forward to working with them.
Is your general manager playbook, is that from Jeff Luhnow? Is that from a bunch of people that you've been in contact with? Who are your resources, or who have been your resources at this point?
It's probably a combination of all the people I've worked for. I've worked for Dave Littlefield and Omar Minaya, Chris Antonetti, and then Jeff Luhnow in Houston. And I've tried to take pieces of what each of them has to offer. They each have been very successful executives in various capacities in the game. They each have a very distinct style of doing things. And so one of that taught me is you have to be true to who you are. You can't try to necessarily emulate anyone else. You can take the positives and the positive attributes from people, but at the end of the day, you have to know what your own style is. You have to be comfortable with your own personality, and that's what I'm going to try to do.
After your phone call to your fiance, I assume that was first when you got the offer, but what were the 2 or 3 calls? What were the first phone calls you made after you got the offer to be the general manager of the Milwaukee Brewers?
So I certainly called my fiance first. I called her in the car ride back from Mark's house after he offered me the job, and then I called my mom and dad.
Yeah.
Nice. And that's those all 3 were pretty nice phone calls to make, and everyone were very happy. You know, my mom, dad, brother, they were the ones who introduced me to baseball, took me to games as a kid, played catch with me, taught me how to pitch, and now to be able to do this, I think, is as special for them as it is to me.
Who was your team growing up?
Grew up a New York Mets fan.
Okay.
Grew up a New York Mets fan, late 80s, early 90s. Some really good teams, some not good teams, but a lot of fun to watch. Spent a lot of my childhood at Old Shea Stadium. And,
so did I, yeah.
That's exactly right. And it was really a fun team to watch growing up, and a lot of excitement.
Now you're going to be here throughout the rest of the series and head back to Milwaukee with us and land at about 3 o'clock in the morning.
So I'm going to get a jump start on you guys. And I will. I'm actually, unfortunately, heading back to Milwaukee early tomorrow morning. I have a bunch of meetings set up for the rest of the week, and then we'll be there through the weekend, and obviously after that into the off season.
So it is mind-boggling how busy you have been and how busy you're going to be as Lopez skips one in. That hit Maldonado and bounces into the seats. So a wild pitch will move Solarte over to second base. 2 outs in the inning. We're visiting with David Stearns, the new Brewers general manager. He's been on the job a little over a week, and you start to get into your program now, and the Brewers season ends, and I would imagine that's when things really get extremely busy for you. But I heard you say something earlier today that I wanted our fans to hear again, but your relationship with the manager is of utmost importance to you, and that connection. So you guys are having all these conversations about baseball, but just the personality part of it as well.
You have to get along. It's not only about baseball, but you have to understand each other's personalities. As we go through this thing over the coming years, we're going to have to be able to vent to each other, be honest with each other when things are going well and when things aren't going well. And I've seen general manager-manager relationships that are airtight, and when they're airtight, it spreads throughout the entire organization. And everyone can see that. Everyone knows that the group is on the same page.
Kemp with a base hit into left field, and coming around to score is Solarte. So the Padres drum up a little rally with 2 outs. A 2-out single, then a wild pitch, and now Kemp with his 100th RBI of the season.
Well, and Lopez is going to learn you can't hang curveballs to guys like Matt Kemp, a big-time run producer, and he's able to knock that one into left field. But you like the way he's willing to throw that curveball. He hasn't thrown a whole lot of change-ups here, but the fastball's been pretty impressive. And the curveball, a tremendous year down in the minor leagues, and you got to be excited about maybe seeing him in spring training this year.
Absolutely, he's a guy who's made as many steps, taken as big a step forward this year as any pitching prospect in baseball. He's put himself on the map as one of the top tier pitching prospects, and I think you're right. For a guy to come to the big leagues with the type of arm he has, the type of life on the fastball he's showing tonight, and be able to have confidence in the curveball. Throw the curveball for strikes, is pretty impressive. And a lot of guys will get out there and try to rear back and throw 96 every time, especially when they get into a little bit of trouble. But he'll learn when it's the proper time to throw the curveball for a strike, when it's the proper time to bounce the curveball, when it's the proper time to elevate with the fastball. Those are all the types of things that are going to come with experience. But he clearly has the raw tools to get there.
How many are you may not, you're so new on the job, you may not be making any, but are you making any baseball decisions right now, on-field decisions about guys you may want to see, or is anybody in the big leagues because of your recommendation at this point, or is it just all too new?
At this point, Doug's still the general manager. I technically don't take over until the day after the season. So he's still the acting general manager, and fortunately at this point,
Upton lines one to left, and that's going to bounce out. That's a break. That's a ground rule double, which will keep Kemp at third base. So 3 consecutive hits against Lopez, and now the Padres with runners at second and third, 2 away on a ringing double by Justin Upton.
Yeah, the other thing these young pitchers are going to have to learn is that these guys in the major leagues, they make adjustments very quickly. You can see the difference in the second time through the batting order. None of these guys for the Padres have ever seen Jorge, but it's up to pitchers to be able to maybe keep a pitch in their back pocket, maybe until the second time through if they're able to do that. But adjustments is what this league is all about.
That's right. I imagine the Padres hitters would come into this game, think, okay, you've got a young kid making his major league debut. Maybe he's going to be a little wild. Clearly he hasn't been. He's filling up the zone, and so second time through the order, they're going to jump on fastballs early in the count, and they've done a good job with that. So we'll see if he makes an adjustment here, and Rick and the catcher are going to help him through that.
So Lopez with runners at second and third. Jed Jerko, the batter. Grounded out his first time up. He swung at the first pitch and got jammed. This time he lets it go by. And a fastball is in there for a strike. Padres have a new young general manager in place this season, A.J. Preller. And it's been interesting to watch how his organization was he's trying to build right away, as Jerko with a swing and a miss.
Yeah, he came in full guns a-blazing.
He did, and he had a very aggressive first offseason as a general manager. He made a lot of high-profile moves. Some of them have worked out pretty well, and some of them haven't. But certainly anytime someone is that aggressive, it raises some eyebrows, and I think it certainly did last offseason. The good news for him is that he's got a lot of these guys for multiple years, and so it's not a situation as though because this year didn't turn out as planned that it's a failed strategy. He's got future years to try to build on this.
These are all names, A.J. Preller and John Daniels, some of the young general managers you think of, but even guys like Walt Jocketty and some of these longtime general managers that have been in their seats for a long time, as Jerko takes a called strike 3 to end the inning. You're off the hot seat, Mr. Stearns.
That wasn't that hot.
Thanks for being with us.
Easy the first time.
My pleasure.
Have the broadcasting budgets come in yet? Because we'd like you to give us an endorsement.
I'll take a look at them this week. All right, thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
David Stearns, new general manager. It's been a pleasure visiting with him, getting to know him. There'll be a lot more of these interviews throughout the years.
For the fourth inning, time to check in with the crew in the community. Fans, players, and other supporters throughout the Milwaukee community have been very generous throughout the 2015 season. Brewers Community Foundation has surpassed all of its goals and is incredibly thankful for everyone's support. Countless individuals and families have benefited and received support in the areas of health, education, recreation, and basic needs. We have truly harnessed the pride, passion, and commitment of Brewer fans to help others throughout our community. Thank you for joining us this season as we work hard to make a difference for others.
All right, Telly, thanks. Here we go to the fourth inning. Jorge Lopez getting a strikeout of Jed Jerko to end the third, and a pop-up from Segura. Jerko's out there, and he'll call it and catch it for out number one. Well, that was a very impressive first time out of the gates on television for David Stearns. I mean, he sits there with, he talked about Lopez's poise. He's got a lot of poise, and you look at him and you talk to him, he just gives you the presence of a leader that he's got a plan, and that plan's in place, and it's in motion.
Right. He's done a lot. I mean, everybody wants to talk about how he's only 30 years old, but you think about the things he's done. He's been with the Houston Astros for a while, Major League Baseball. He's been in the minor league systems of a couple of other ball clubs, but still in all, I mean, he's a baseball guy. He's got a plan. I think he knows in his mind what he wants to do and how this team is going to look going forward, and wish him well. We wish him luck, and it looks like he's a pretty sharp guy.
Enjoyed that very much. We appreciate him coming on with us. And I believe him when he says his week on the job feels like one extended day. I'm sure he's sleeping very little. There's so many pieces to put in place before you get to the off season. And he did say earlier today, and there's a lot of things we talked to him about before the game that we can paraphrase now, and as we go out through the broadcast, didn't want to ask him specifics about that because we'd heard from him earlier, but he did say he's not going to make any announcements on personnel.
No,
he's not making any public thoughts on player personnel either, because he really hasn't seen much of the team, as Sardinhas takes a called strike 3 and the second out. Although he did say before the game, Rock, that there are a number of front office staff members who will be retaining their jobs. He wasn't going to get into names, but he was very impressed with the personnel that the Brewers have in place in the baseball operations department. So starting to feel like maybe not a lot of changes. There are going to be some key changes, I would imagine. And everybody's anxious to hear that, but he's not prepared to go there just yet. He has been interviewing and sitting down with coaches. He's been talking to players informally. I think he's just trying to take it all in and
just getting a sense for who's in, who's out, right? I mean, he certainly has certain things he wants to hear from everybody, and everybody's going to have to be able to make adjustments to do things his kind of way, and we'll see how it all plans out. It's going to be happening very quickly.
It's going to be a quick inning for Tyson Ross. 3 up, 3 down with a strikeout. He has settled in after that 2-run first. Brewers still lead. Brought to you by Miller Lite, the original light Pilsner. Cheers, it's Miller time. And by the Wisconsin Lottery, reminding you to please play responsibly. Brewers lead the Padres 2-1. We head to the bottom of the fourth inning from Petco Park. West Coast baseball tonight. Thanks for staying up late with us. And it is now time for you to tweet us your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag WisDataStrongFan. You just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's all brought to you by T-Mobile. Jorge Lopez back to work, pitching in front of his new general manager, David Stearns. He flies all the way to San Diego, and he's going to turn around and fly all the way back to Milwaukee. Was here for the off day yesterday, and I think that's what was the main point of the trip here, to catch some of the coaches and Craig Counsell on the off day.
Yeah, a lot easier to do it on the road. You know, guys are kind of captured audience in the hotel, a little bit different back at home, and the guys are at home in their own beds, and an evaluation process going on everywhere for David Stearns. Got a lot of work to do in a short period of time.
Well, Lopez has been impressive. I think Counsell is going to have a fairly quick hook, but giving up 3 hits and a run last inning. He's been sharp tonight for the most part. He's had a good fastball. And the 2-2 is fouled, sliced into the seats down the left field line.
Yeah, got a break with that ball that Justin Upton hit, bounced over the wall. Had that ball stayed in play, would have been another run. Working on adrenaline today, you would imagine. He's got all kinds of energy pumping through that system tonight. There's that changeup.
Yeah, that's a hard changeup too. 89 miles an hour. You'd like to see that a little slower speed, a little more off his fastball. But I think that probably goes back to that adrenaline you're just talking about.
A little amped up.
It's a shot fair. That's inside the bag. Going to go all the way in the corner. Santana plays it well. Spangenberg on his way to third base, and the throw comes in late.
He can run.
That's a leadoff triple for Corey Spangenberg.
And he's two for two. One to left, now one to right, just inside that first baseline. Corey Blazer, the first base umpire, had it right over the bag and down in that corner. Fastball up and in, and he's able to turn on it just fair and all the way down in the corner, and he's able to get all the way around to third base.
So, a leadoff triple for Lopez. Spangenberg with his 5th triple. Now the catcher Austin Hedges will bat, who reached on an error his last time up.
And swings were a lot better against Lopez second time through.
Padres are now 4 for 6 against Lopez second time through the batting order. Infield in for Milwaukee. And Hedges takes a ball away. Two and 0. Minimize the damage, and this is the hitter to start that process. You got the pitcher coming up next.
And that's why the Brewers have the infield in. Bottom of the order. Got to keep that baseball down and get the ground ball.
3-0. Coming off a 28 pitch third inning. Lopez trying to gather himself. Well, no matter what he does the rest of the way, Major League debuts, they can go a lot of ways, but he's certainly shown enough to give you some hope. Boy, that one misses, not by much. So ball 4, Hedges draws the walk, and now first and third with nobody out, and the pitcher Ross coming up, and some activity stirring in the bullpen.
Yeah, a little loosening up. That's Cesar Jimenez. Not ready to pull the trigger on him yet. They're going to give the young man an opportunity to stretch it out a little bit. Been a while since he's pitched, so command might be an issue for him.
Lopez was on a great run at Double-A in his second half of the season. After the Double-A All-Star game, he went 7-3 and a 1.67 ERA. He got stronger as the year went on, and I think that's what impressed the Brewers organization the most. Overall, his year was 12-5 with a 2.26 earned run average.
Yeah, first year with the Brewers, 2011, and he's been able to get better every year. That's a good sign.
And this time last year, he was just finishing up a season of A-ball. So here he is a calendar year later, pitching in the big leagues. And a little soft fly ball, and cannot be caught by Segura. Run is in to tie the game. Tyson Ross, the pitcher, muscles one into shallow left. Tough break for Lopez and the Brewers, and we're all even at 2 apiece.
Now, the thing that hurt you was the walk to the number 7 hitter. Hedges on 4 pitches. A good fastball, a little tail going in on Ross, but he swings the bat pretty well. The Brewers in double play depth. And because of that, Segura not able to make the catch. And a run in.
So 2 on with nobody out. Rick Kranitz, the pitching coach, is back out there. And it looks like he's talking more with Maldonado as well about pitch selection to this next hitter.
And nothing wrong with the pitch that he just threw Ross. Got in on his hands, but Ross strong enough to dump it into left.
Two on, nobody out. Travis Jankowski at the plate, batting 9th. Padres have their pitcher batting 8th. Needing a ground ball here. Showing bunt, takes a ball, 2-0. Jankowski runs well. Got to hit one right at an infielder to be able to turn it. Brewers have their corner infielders in. Sardinhas and Lind expecting a bunt. And not bunting this time. A full hack. He cuts right through it. 2-1.
Good late move and gets that baseball off the bat that time. Jankowski had a good pitch to hit. Swung right through it. Right down the middle.
And again shows bunt.
Got to get that pitch.
That's a strike.
I mean, that's a strike. I mean, Jeff Nelson behind home plate doesn't like that low strike. Caught the bottom of the zone.
So it's 3-1 now. 2 hits and a walk in the inning. The Padres have scored to tie it. Hitters count for Jankowski. And he sends that one in the air. Is that going to stay playable? Davis is over and just out of his reach. Good catch up there by a fan. Gets very tight. It's a similar setup to Miller Park where it angles out and then starts to hug that foul line. There's a little more room here at Petco than Miller Park, but not much.
But that's where the similarities end. Foul territory and down the lines. This is a big ballpark. Got to hit him well to get him out.
Count is full. Lopez needing to make a big pitch here. And right down the middle, down he goes. A fastball strikes out Jankowski.
Yep, outer half of the plate, and once again, Jankowski looked like he's trying to pull it. Just pulling that shoulder, trying to hook everything to right. Opens him up to that outside corner.
So that's what it's been first time, second time through the batting order. And now Lopez has 6 strikeouts. And now a chance to get a double play ball and get out of this mess with only 1 run scoring. Will Myers at the plate. Lopez falling behind. Myers hit a rocket to center first time up, right out of the gates against Lopez. But Schaefer ran it down just in front of the wall in center field. It's funny how a guy goes from an untouchable, which Myers was in the Kansas City Royals organization, until they swapped him with the Rays. The Royals needed an ace, and they made the trade, got James Shields. And then Myers was flipped from the Rays to the Padres.
A disappointing season.
He's been battling a wrist injury. Hits that one on a line and a base hit. And rounding third, heading home is Hedges. He will score as Will Myers gives the Padres the lead, 3-2.
And much different approach for Myers than Jankowski. Jankowski looked like he was trying to hook everything, and Myers stays back, hits it hard into center. Over the head of Scooter Gennett, and run number 3 crosses home plate. And the good swings against Jorge Lopez continue.
And now Red Kranitz trying to find the right phone to the bullpen to get some activity going. 3-2, been a 2-run inning. Now getting into the third time through the batting order. Here is Solarte, who singled and scored in the third. Solarte 1 out of 2 tonight. Padres ripped off 3 straight hits in the third inning. Solarte, Kemp, and Upton. Kemp drove in the run. Now 2 are in here in the fourth. Solarte, little roller foul.
That's a good changeup that time. 86, taking a little bit more off of it. And changeups earlier in the game were about 88 to 89, a little bit too strong. Not enough of a difference between the changeup and the fastball. That was much better.
Jonathan Barrios getting loose for the Brewers in the bullpen, who made his major league debut earlier on this road trip. One of the 6 players, including Lopez, to come from Biloxi to the big leagues. Ground ball foul, went back to the changeup. Count remains at 1-2.
Goes from just about every pitch fastballs to Jankowski to just about every pitch to Solarte, either a curveball or a changeup.
See what he does here. 1-2. 2 men on for San Diego, and a fastball on the ground right to Segura. And the Brewers able to turn a 6-4-3 double play to get him out of the inning. So 2 runs come in. Padres take the lead. Brewers are coming up. As we head to the top of the fifth, San Diego getting a couple of runs in the fourth. How about Sunday? It's worth another look, courtesy of Columbia St. Mary's. Jason Rogers with his first career grand slam. It came in the ninth inning. It gave the Brewers the lead. Chris Davis would add a 3-run home run later in the inning. That was the signature win of the season, in a season that has been one to forget. That was certainly
sweet.
a great memory.
That was sweet. That was a nice come-from-behind victory. Jumping off the mat.
Carsoup.com trivia: which two Brewers hitters hold the franchise record for most career pinch hit home runs? That's a good one. That Rogers grand slam was a pinch hit grand slam home run.
Didn't let me enjoy that big win on Sunday long enough. We had a trivia question.
Yeah, we got business, man. It all ties in together. Now you can enjoy it. Go ahead.
Snatch him back. That was nice. Good win for the Cardinals yesterday, though.
Yeah, it was.
Came back. It was 0-0 in the ninth inning.
Just a horrific collision between Peter Borges and Stephen Piscotty in that game. Piscotty spent the night in the hospital, but reports are very good. Matter of fact, he could come back and play this year.
Mm-hmm.
Had a contusion on the cheekbone, but it knocked him cold last night. It was as scary as you will ever see.
How many guys on the Cardinals team would have been able to make that catch other than Borges?
Yeah, right. Good point.
That would have been a triple, if not an inside the park homer. Hey, reserve your spot at Miller Park for the final series of the year as the Brewers close out the season with a weekend showdown against Chris Bryant and the division rival Chicago Cubs. This coming Friday, October 2nd through Sunday the 4th. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or go to Brewers.com today.
Last 3 games of the year, then Miller Park will close up shop for the season. But there will be a flurry of activity up there in the general manager's office. Scooter Gennett will take a ball. Top of the order again. Third time through now. Gennett is 2 for 2. Single to right. Infield hit on the left side of the infield in the second. Just to follow up on the Pirates and the Cardinals, they were postponed tonight. 3 games postponed, as a matter of fact. Blue Jays, Orioles, Minnesota, Cleveland, and St. Louis, Pittsburgh. Ground ball to second. 2 outs. We don't know what rain and bad weather is here in San Diego, California. Glorious.
Stunning it would be raining in Pittsburgh.
That is a shocker.
Yeah.
Hardly rains there. It rained more in Pittsburgh than Seattle last year. Did you know that?
I didn't.
That's what Steve Blass told me.
And they have a roof in Seattle.
Correct.
So, what happened?
They were able to play the games. I'm all about the roof, except here. You don't need a roof here. This is one of the great ballparks in the country. You'd like to see them put together a winning team, though, and fill this place up. Decent crowd tonight, but they've had some big crowds here earlier in the year when they brought in all these big-name players. It's a downtown setting. Got the ocean just a few blocks from here. It's a great walking town, right next to the gas lamp district. And this is something special here in San Diego. But they have struggled putting together a winning organization, which is why they made a general manager change last year. And Pat Murphy replacing Bud Black mid-season. Three balls and a strike on Schaefer. He's up there with 2 outs. Brewers now down a run, 3-2.
Yeah, you see that Fox tracks up on the screen. What was the difference between pitch 2 and pitch 4? I mean, almost identical, right? Different sides of the plate. One a ball, one a strike.
And you know that system that we give you is the exact system the umpires use to grade their home plate strike zone after every time they have home plate.
Of course, I know that Schaefer swung at pitch 2, but still, I mean, they're identical pitches.
Schaefer draws the walk, so that's a 2-out walk. Third walk of the game for Ross to go along with his 5 strikeouts. That's going to bring Adam Lind to the plate. Lind had an RBI single in the first. Grounded out his last time up. Padres put a shift on. They bring their third baseman Solarte across. They leave Jerko, the shortstop, in his position. So 3 infielders on the right side. Adam Lind has the kind of power where it doesn't matter what ballpark he's in.
And if he gets him, they're going to fly. That's for sure.
20 homers this year for Lind. Runner at first. Brewers down a run. Lind a swing and a miss.
Not going to do much with that pitch, though. A good 2-seamer right on the corner.
Tyson Ross.
And he's figured it out, hadn't he, after that first inning?
Brewers got 2 runs on 3 hits in the first inning. There was a walk. RBIs from Lind and Segura. Hardly anything since. Just an infield hit and 2 walks. Man, a comeback in there for a strike. Inning over. Lind barking at the home plate umpire, saying, I want my guy to get that call.
On strikes his last time up, caught looking on a pitch in, and we've been watching all night, and Jeff Nelson has not been given much of the corners. Matter of fact, a lot of the pitches that have been touching the corners have been called balls. This time expands his zone a little bit and rings up Adam Lind. Got to be a little bit more consistent than that behind home plate.
Also, Lind retired with a runner at first. 6 strikeouts for Tyson Ross. Padres still lead 3-2. Jorge Lopez returns to the mound, and it's going to be Melvin Upton Jr. here instead of Matt Kemp. So we will hope to get word on that. Has to be injury or illness. No reason to take him out at this point in the game.
He got a base hit, and then he went to third base on the Justin Upton ground rule double. And was stranded there, but hey, never know. Maybe the 100 RBIs got him out of the lineup for a while, right?
Well, we'll see if Lopez can bounce back here. He's given up runs each of his last 2 innings. Did get a double play ball to end the last inning, though, that he needed desperately, but he's fallen behind. 3 balls, no strikes on Melvin Upton. His brother Justin Upton is due up next. And Upton draws the walk.
Hey, that brings us to tonight's Tavern the Game winner. It's the Arrow Tap and Marathon. If they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours, they get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to an April or May 2016 Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite. Arrow Tap.
All right.
Like it.
I'm in for that. Now it's a leadoff walk. Lopez nearing the end here. Now facing Justin Upton. And a ground ball. A chance to turn to Segura to Jeanette. And a routine double play. Well done. Jorge Lopez gets Upton on a 6-4-3 double play and 2 quick outs, 1 swing of the bat.
Second inning where he's been able to get a double play. Ended the last inning with a double play with men on base.
He's got good life on his fastball, huh?
Yeah, the 2-seam fastball, that little movement right at the end, and that one was up in the strike zone, but it had some movement, got in on his hands.
There's strike 1 to Jed Jerko.
I like the fact that he likes to pitch inside. I mean, young guy that throws kind of average fastball, you'd say these days. 94, 95, not afraid to come in.
Spike that changeup. That looks like the work in progress pitch for him, but when he dials that one up, and you got to remember he's at the end of his season now. I mean, he's pitching an innings level that he has never achieved in his career. And I'm going to push him maybe for 2 more starts. Broken bat. That's going to fall, a base hit. Jerko singles. And a base runner with 2 outs.
Former Brewer Jose Valentin, the first base coach for the Padres. Just saw Mark Loretta right next to us in the booth next to us.
Oh, is that right?
Works for the Padres. Actually does some TV work.
He's hanging in there with all the brass.
Here, Metlo.
Sure.
He's got general manager written all over him.
I covered Loretta back in the when he was playing for the El Paso Diablos back in the Texas League. Yeah, I agree with you.
Smart guy.
Yeah, Loretta and Trevor Hoffman on A.J. Preller's staff. Brad Ausmus used to be before he took over as the manager of the Tigers. A fly ball slicing foul. Looking at Lopez's innings this year at Double-A, so he pitched at 143 1/3. And the Brewers are trying to just push him a little bit more. Had 2 starts in the Southern League playoffs. A swing and a miss. He strikes him out. Spangenberg chased a high fastball, and that's 5 in the books. 3 runs in. Lopez and the Brewers down a run. Supply Company. And that warehouse setting up the corner, the left field corner here at Petco Park. Say you can vote for your MVP and help us decide which Fox Sports Supports partner will be crowned the winner. The charity with the most votes at the end of the Brewers season will score big with a donation from Hupy and Abraham. Choose from American Heart Association of Wisconsin, Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater Milwaukee, or Fisher House, Wisconsin. To vote, visit foxsportswisconsin.com/supports. Melvin Upton Jr. will stay in the game to play center. That will move Jankowski over to right field. Matt Kemp has been lifted from the game. No reason given yet, but we will effort that. So it's 3-2 San Diego. Chris Davis, Domingo Santana, and Gene Segura will lead off for the Brewers against Tyson Ross.
And Tyson Ross has now thrown 5 or more innings in every start this year, except for one. He got rained out in the start after 2 innings in July. Other than that, he's gone at least 5 innings in every one of his starts this year.
The one that got away from the Oakland Athletics. Ground ball in the hole. That's through, a base hit. Good start for the Crew here in the 6th inning. Davis with a single. On base for the 3rd time.
Been impressive, hasn't he, since the beginning of August? Home runs, starting to get that batting average up, taking his walks. I mean, teams have noticeably been trying to pitch around him. And he needed it. A good finish to his season.
Here's Sardinius. Or rather Santana. Beg your pardon. Santana's 0 for 2 with a couple of Ks. Yeah, good slider right there at the bottom of the zone for a strike. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Domingo Santana, and a swing, a little chopper right back to the mound. Ross goes to first base, and there is out number 1, but Davis advances into scoring position. That's a tying run there for Milwaukee. And 1 away for Segura.
And not exactly what he was looking for, Santana, but he did get the runner over in scoring position.
Got an update on Matt Kemp. Let's check in with Telly Hughes. What do you have down there, Telly?
BA, the word out of the Padres clubhouse is Matt Kemp has left tonight's game with right hand soreness. So that's the report so far. And if any more details come up, we'll definitely pass it along. But Matt Kemp has exited tonight's game with right hand soreness.
All right, thanks, Telly. So that's a big bat out of the Padre lineup after he drove in his 100th run back in the 3rd inning. And now Segura turns on one. Will that stay fair? That's a long way, and it is gone. Gene Segura rifles one out of here into the Western Metal Supply Company warehouse.
Second deck. Wow.
2-run home run. The Brewers, just like that, take the lead 4-3.
Oh, goodness. That might be one of the longest ones we've seen from Segura this year.
I was about to say the same thing.
I'm telling you, talk about a guy sitting on a fastball and just turns on it. And Segura's been swinging the bat with a little bit more authority. Remember there was a stretch where he had nothing but singles. He's really starting to swing the bat with aggressiveness, thinking about slugging percentage, and look at this one fly. Goodness.
That had some heat on it. It was a bit of an awkward swing, but he was able to get the hands through there and had no hook at all hardly. That ball had very little movement.
He had to pull the hands in to be able to keep it fair. If you just throw the hands in the barrel of the bat, it's just going to be a loud out, loud strike. Pull the hands in, you're able to keep it fair. And wow, a bomb.
It's his 6th home run of the season. That's the first home run for Segura since he homered off Mitch Harris. Remember that game? Matheny was using pitchers late in the game, and Segura hit a 3-run shot back on, that was September 17th. I don't think I've ever seen him hit one harder, though, than that one.
No. That's what he's saying right now. I didn't know I had that one in me. Wow.
Sardinas now, and a swing and a miss. Sardinas strikes out for the second out of the inning.
He could have just made a winner out of Jorge Lopez in his major league debut.
Yeah, what do you do if you're Craig Counsell now? Do you pull the plug on your rookie?
He got activity in that bullpen. Barrios was getting loose.
Yeah, Barrios still loosening. He's throwing as if he's coming in. Might be a good time to let a major league debut come to an end.
Yeah, pull the plug on him. He had a scoreless fifth inning. After struggling in the third and the fourth, let him leave on a good note.
Yeah, looks like he's done. Getting some congratulatory wishes there. Well, it's all over. You'll never forget your first one. Jorge Lopez has one in the books. 5 innings, giving up 3 runs, 7 strikeouts in his big league debut. Maldonado takes a strike. Tell you, there's a great article on Brewers.com written by Adam McCalvey. I know Tom Hodgecourt wrote an article as well about Jorge Lopez and his son Michael, who's 2 years old, and a very revealing article about what Jorge has gone through. His son has an autoimmune disease. They actually live in Cincinnati where he can get treatment. It's one of the top hospitals for treatment of autoimmune disorders, and it has been a long, hard ride here with the birth of his new son 2 years ago, and the battle still rages for the Lopez family and his boy. But a beautifully written article by Adam McCalvey that kind of gives you a little bit of understanding of why it's important for Lopez to succeed at the major league level, finally able to make some money.
And money he's making this month is going to go a long way in helping out those medical bills, so good for him.
Well, his major league debut is in the books, and it was a success, and now he's got a chance to win thanks to that swing. Gene Segura with a rocket into the warehouse, and the Brewers lead once again. Good to see the blood moon turning back into the moon made of cheese once again.
Right.
Marshfield Clinic's shining moment of the game. How about we go Jorge Lopez in his major league debut?
He showed some pretty good stuff. I mean, like the way he's able to pitch inside, made some mistakes. You know, as you would expect, you know, major league hitters are going to be able to make adjustments. He had a difficult time second time through the order, but able to be done after 5 innings with the lead. That's the main thing. So, you know, looking like he may be able to pick up a win in his major league debut. It's going to be up to the bullpen right now. 2 walks, 7 punch-outs. He struggled a little bit with his changeup, curveball a little bit inconsistent, but overall I would imagine a pretty good feeling for him tonight as Jonathan Barrios takes over. 3rd appearance. The hard thrower was acquired from the Pittsburgh Pirates in that Aramis Ramirez deal.
A converted infielder, Barrios, another guy that hasn't been pitching long. He was teammates with Lopez in Biloxi since mid-July when Barrios was acquired. So he'll get the first leg of this venture to try to get to the end and secure a win for Lopez. Austin Hedges leads off for San Diego. Two walks, 7 strikeouts tonight for Jorge Lopez. And right down the middle for a strike. 3 balls, 1 strike on Hedges. Ate him up with a fastball. Segura, nice easy hop, and there is out number 1. As promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Don't forget to use the hashtag WisDataStrongFan. It comes to us from Michelle tonight with 1 L. That's the way my wife spells her name. 1 L Michelle. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. Use that hashtag. You could be featured in an upcoming broadcast. Michelle's the one in the middle, I think.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
I didn't see it.
Oh, okay. You just said, yeah.
I was looking at my scorecard.
Just an automatic reaction.
I never disagree with you, do I?
You didn't miss anything.
No.
Alexi Amarista will pinch hit for Ross.
I have a difficult time lying.
Yeah.
I mean, I just can't get myself out of lies, so I didn't see it.
The shame was coming on you fast. You're like, what did I just say yeah to?
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, I heard what you said. I didn't see the picture.
That ball is ripped into right, but right at Santana for the out. 2 up, 2 down. So Barrios, with 2 away, will face Jankowski. Not to be confused with the Raiders kicker, Janikowski. There's no I. Just Jankowski, who has struck out twice. Well, Jorge Lopez is going to be able to say that he outpitched Tyson Ross in his major league debut. It's hard to make it. It's harder to stay.
Yeah, it is.
But he showed enough tonight that, boy, that gives you a lot of hope. Brewers have a lot of great young arms in their minor league system.
There's 2 of them, Tyler Wagner, Jorge Lopez.
Get them up here, get their feet wet, get all these major league debuts and all these new experiences over with, and hit the ground running next year.
Yeah, you don't know what David Stearns has in mind with the offseason trades and acquisitions, but it's going to be an interesting spring training.
No question. A lot of jobs up for grabs. He'll have a chance at one of them, you think. 1-2-3 inning for Barrios. We go to the 7th, 4-3 Brewers. Home run in the 6th. Now we go to the top of the 7th. Carsoup.com trivia. Which two Brewers hitters hold the franchise record for most career pinch hit homers? Bob Hamlin and Bill Hall. Those are good names. Each had 4 career pinch hit home runs. And Jason Rogers just had his first career pinch hit grand slam.
I haven't seen Billy Hall in a while.
Wonder what he's doing.
I think he's in Arizona.
Living the good life. Well, he had a couple of years there. He was a dynamo.
Yeah, something else.
Kevin Quackenbush, Rock, is on the mound.
You see, he's got 54 appearances and a .420 earned run average. Now, Quackenbush was called up from AAA on June 23rd. And since that time, he's been able to rack up a bunch of appearances, 53 strikeouts in 55 2/3 innings. Quackenbush not a big strikeout guy. He throws low 90s with a split-fingered fastball and a slider. He's given up 6 home runs.
Sporting an outstanding beard, though.
Looks angry.
Home plate umpire Jeff Nelson has stepped out and is, I don't know if he's adjusting or readjusting his lineup card. Not sure why that wasn't done between innings, but Nelson wanted to get it straight, so the pinch hitter comes in, Peterson. Nelson makes the change on his card, and there's strike 1.
Yeah, it's interesting, that lineup card. It's got to have everybody in the starting lineup with the batting order. It's got to have every one of your relief pitchers that are available. It's got to have your bench players. If they're not on there on that official lineup card, they can't play. And that has come into play from time to time.
Managers and bench coaches triple, quadruple check those lineup cards. And that's the best lineup in the big leagues, written out by Jerry Narron.
That's not the official one.
There's a little flare. That's going to fall for a base hit. So Shane Peterson with a base hit very similar to his hit that started the rally against Rosenthal. A pinch hit single to start the 7th.
Yeah, perfect segue to a promo. Hey, Brewers season seat holders, enjoy the best seats at the lowest prices, plus a number of exclusive benefits not available to the general public. To place a deposit on 2016 ticket plans and guarantee the best seating location for 2016, go to Brewers.com/season tickets.
I agree with you. Nothing like a broken bat single to inspire you to buy tickets.
Right. And a lead in San Diego.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, you know what? That ball dropped. I'm going to get some tickets. We got to get tickets to see Jorge Lopez potentially next year.
Yeah, I was handed the card and told him my headset that's a perfect time to sell season seats.
Sell away, Rock. You have to come watch games with us next year. Don't be hesitant. New regime, you got whole new attitude. It's all new. Everything's new.
Yeah.
Except us.
Except you and me, I hope.
We're just old.
I think we're just going to be hanging around and we're just doing whatever we do.
Jeanette fouls off a breaking ball. Well, I had a very enjoyable day with Bill Schroeder yesterday. We went to the Marine Air Station yesterday. At Miramar. And our favorite colonel, Paul Bishop, he's right there in the middle, kind of the middle right.
Yeah, right next to Mike Vasallo, if you know who he is.
And the colonel set us up beautifully. We went out there and we had a great time. We got on the helicopter simulators yesterday. One of them was an Osprey, and there's a call, strike 3. Jeanette is rung up, so that's the first out. This is my favorite photo. I took this photo, and they when you go on the flight deck, they issue you helmets. And look at those two, Ed Cedar and Bill Schroeder.
Yep.
I mean,
Eddie looks serious. I was just having a good time.
Jeff Levering, Joe Block. Jeff Levering was on the helicopter simulator. And I think he crashed into every building in downtown San Diego yesterday.
Yeah, they had us flying over Petco Park and over the ocean, and Jeff was having a little bit of a difficult time. He was crashing into buildings.
I mean, they were asking us to land the choppers. It is amazing, by the way, how difficult those things are to fly.
Right.
The coordination, I can't even begin to describe, although it's a foot pedal, it's a right hand, and it's a left hand, and it all has to kind of be in the right spot. And those Ospreys, they have airplane mode on those too.
Yeah, the propellers move up and down. They go helicopter to, spin around like it's an airplane, and very cool. One of the simulators we were in back with machine guns, all fake.
That was my favorite.
2 on the sides and then 1 on the tail gunner. And I tell you feel like you're actually flying in the air and you're going to fall right out of that airplane. You got to really get you. I was real proud of you. I mean, they showed us how to load those machine guns, and everybody was waiting for, the pilots and the guys that were there at Miramar.
There's a ground ball to first, and Schaefer is safe.
So they said when your clip runs out, when you run out of bullets or rounds, they call it, let us know. You did it yourself. I was quite impressed.
I got tired of waiting. I was ready to fire some ammo, man. They put these little bogeys out there.
Yeah, tanks.
And, all
buses.
kind of. It's all a simulation. So if you've ever been to Disney and you've been on the Peter Pan ride, it's kind of the same thing, but it's like real war zone stuff.
You're comparing that to a Peter Pan ride?
No, the experience is where it's out in front of you.
Okay.
And it does give you that feeling. It's really impressive, and we really appreciate the Marines letting us out there.
Captain Matt Recker did a nice job hosting us, so yeah, thanks. Great time.
Pitching change here at Petco. We'll set up the new hurler. Interrupted our story here in San Diego. Playground in the sand.
Yeah, right. A Dumbo ride at Disneyland with automatic weapons.
4-3 Brewers lead it, and a pitching change coming up. Pat Murphy's going to play matchup here with Lind, the batter, and Mark Zepchinski will come on to pitch.
It's a small world after all, with heat-seeking missiles attached to it.
That's right.
Mark Zepchinski, the left-hander. They got 2 left-handers down in that bullpen. 26th appearance for Zepchinski. He has struggled mightily since leading St. Louis. An 8 earned run average.
This guy was instrumental in helping the Cardinals beat the Brewers in the 2011 NLCS, and has never really pitched that well since. But he found a window with the Cardinals after being traded from the Blue Jays to St. Louis for Tony La Russa's team, and he and Octavio Dotel were as tough as it gets on that Brewers lineup, especially Prince Fielder. And he's been bouncing around a lot since that time.
And throughout the World Series.
A World Series title, has a ring with those Cardinals.
Bud has had a difficult time since. Fastball in the low 90s, changeup, slider. In for Adam Lind. Probably one and done. Adam Lind, the only right-hander for a while now for the Brewers. Only left-hander, I should say.
Lind had an RBI single his first time up. He had a line shot to center field. Brewers got 2 in the first, 2 in the 6th. That was a 2-run homer by Segura in the 6th inning. Chris Davis is the new Powerball home run leader after his 2 home runs Sunday in St. Louis. Has out-homered Braun, who is done for the year. Lind with 20. 2 balls, 1 strike. A couple of former Blue Jays matching up, teammates. And a ground ball out to second base. Spangenberg will go to first. And so Lind is retired to end the inning. Zepchinski does his job. Stretch time at Petco. Let's get you caught up here. Good start for the Brewers tonight. Adam Lind had an RBI single in the first inning that scored Jeanette. Jumping on Tyson Ross early, and then a double, a bouncer over the head of Solarte, and an RBI for Segura. Matt Kemp then started the rally for San Diego. He drove in a run in the 3rd. That came with 2 outs. And then in the 4th inning, Padres got 2 runs. Tyson Ross actually drove in one of those runs, and then Will Myers with a single to center field to give the Padres the lead. However, Gene Segura not done yet. Maybe his hardest hit ball of the year, and a 2-run home run number 6 for Segura. Now 49 runs batted in. He's driven in 3 tonight, and he gave the Brewers the lead once again. Jorge Lopez made his major league debut. He pitched well. 5 innings, 3 runs, 7 strikeouts, and he's in line for the win. And now it'll be Jeremy Jeffress here in the 7th.
You know it's going to be the big 3 if the Brewers are able to hold this lead. You got Jeffress, Will Smith, and K-Rod. Hopefully that's all they're going to need. And Jeffress last pitched on Sunday. Gave up a couple of runs in an inning of work. Gave up back-to-back home runs to the Cardinals, Carpenter and Piscotty, in the 7th inning.
Jeffress has pitched a lot this year. Anytime you get over 70 games coming out of the bullpen, you know you have been effective. You've had success. And in Jeffers' case, as a late inning reliever.
And he's been healthy.
He's been healthy. That's the most important thing.
And even with those 2 home runs allowed, he's only given up 4 earned runs in his last 22 in the 3rd innings.
Myers fouls it away.
So he's been good. That's a 159 earned run average.
Will Smith is the club leader in games, and he is in the top 5 in the league in games pitched. Actually, top 6, I should say. Smith has 74. One ball, 2 strikes on Will Myers. Single and an RBI his last time up, and a called strike 3. Myers is out. And Jeffers strikes out his first batter in the 7th.
Yeah, that one clearly had the plate on the outside corner. That has been a tough call for this Brewer pitching staff tonight, but Jeff Nelson rings that one up.
Scoreless inning by Jonathan Barrios in the 6th inning. 3 up and 3 down. Jeffers will have the 7th if everything works like counsel wants it to. Will Smith the 8th, and then K-Rod the 9th. Liner to left, right at Davis. Out number 2, Solarte is retired.
Hey, it's always Miller time in the Miller Lite Beer Pen this Friday night. The Brewers open the weekend series with the Cubs. And fans 21 and over who sit in the Miller Lite Beer Pen in right field will get a free Miller Lite Brewers hat. For tickets, go to brewers.com/beerpen. Moon back to normal. The super moon.
That was cool.
A few nights ago.
We flew in right about the time we got into San Diego. It was about halfway through the eclipse. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
And the blood moon, you know how it turns red. And
well, the super moon eclipse happens about once every 30 years. You know what a super moon is, don't you?
What's
a
a
full
super
moon when the moon is closest to the Earth.
Ah.
In its moon phase as it goes around the
a
Earth.
Full moon when it's closest to the Earth.
In its orbit around the Earth.
Is what we
had a super moon.
experience.
And an eclipse.
And an eclipse of a super moon.
Right. Every 30 years or so.
Wow. I cannot wait for the next one.
We still going to be working together?
Oh, yeah. Line shot, base hit. Melvin Upton Jr. with a 2-out single.
Let's see, I'll be 87.
That would be fine.
I don't see it happening.
I mean, Vin Scully's still working.
There's only one of him.
That's true. That is the truth. Padres had a Hall of Famer announce it would be his last year next year. Dick Enberg is retiring after next season. He and Scully are going out together.
And we've got Uke. He's going to be, what, 82 next year? Still going strong.
Uke did not make the trip to San Diego. Was in Chicago and St. Louis. We'll see him again in Milwaukee at Miller Park for those last 3 games. Standard practice to record for your own personal usage the last 3 games of Bob Uecker play-by-play. Then you can listen to them all off season whenever you're feeling lonely for baseball. That's what I'm going to do.
But he's coming back.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Just if you're bored in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have something to get you through.
Got it.
Snow's coming down. Play back the game. Of course, the MLB app will allow you to archive any of those games. That's what's so cool about it. You can go relive all the best moments.
I think I'd pick that 9th inning on Sunday.
That's my favorite of the year.
Listen to Uke. Do that.
That was my. That's number 1 on the season. Or maybe when Uke and Joe Block got locked in their radio booth, that's probably number 2.
I was wondering what that ladder was doing in front of their booth when that was going on.
Yeah.
We found out.
My favorite moment of the year was when I had to leave to go do a TBS game, and correct, because Sean came in, and then there was rain, and you had to do a day-night doubleheader.
Yeah.
That also included a rain delay.
Yeah, you got out of that, didn't you?
That was number one for me. That's a win.
You know what was even better about that? They swept that doubleheader.
Yeah, that's
Brew
right.
Crew. Yeah.
Not a whole lot of good memories from this season, but we're getting a look at some very talented young players. Jeffers trying to get Upton here. Melvin, his brother, is aboard with a 2-out single. Justin in a 1-2 count and a throw to first, and he got him. Melvin Upton Jr. is picked off.
Well, they might want to take a look at it.
Jeffers is walking off. Home plate umpire Jeff Nelson saying, hold on, boys. Let's stay right here for a minute. And this one might go to a challenge. Murphy wants to.
Yeah, he was moving toward second base. Can't tell that. It looked like he had him. I don't know. You couldn't see his hand, but it looked like he was still moving.
Yeah, and no challenge here from Murphy. So inning over. A pickoff at first. And that will do it. San Diego. And our Miller Lite, what's on tap? Good one tomorrow. Another rookie on the mound for the Brewers. Zach Davies will be his final start of the season. Andrew Kashner, the hard-throwing right-hander. 8:30 is airtime for Brewers Live. West Coast Baseball. Our Miller Lite, what's on tap? Hope you'll stay up late with us. And let's see if Zach Davies can finish with a bang tomorrow.
Yeah, he was good his last time out. Got a win, 4-1 win. Did not allow a run in 6 innings against the Cubs. As Sean Kelly takes over. Yeah, Kelly fastball slider. Kelly about mid-90s with the heater. You see his number 261 earned run average. Last pitched against the Diamondbacks a couple of days ago. A scoreless inning.
Well, looking around the scoreboard tonight, Cardinals Pirates were postponed due to rain. St. Louis won last night, and they have dropped their magic number to 2. Elimination number is how baseball likes to say it. So any combination of a Cardinal win and a Pirate loss, which could be tomorrow, if St. Louis wins tomorrow's game, then they will win the division again.
It's going to be tough for the Pirates now. They had to sweep that series pretty much.
St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Toronto have all clinched playoff berths. Cardinals have clinched at least home field advantage in the wild card game or the NLDS, and they're a win away against the Pirates from clinching the division. Kansas City was the first to clinch division title, and the Mets have clinched a division title since. And the Cubs are in the wild card spot. Now tonight in San Francisco, the Dodgers are up 8-0 over the Giants, and the Dodgers are headed to a clinch. Their magic number's 2 as well.
There's a hanger right there for Chris Davis. Those are the ones he's been hitting out of the ballpark. Well, he'd like to have that one back. Look, you can see the look on his face, talking to himself. Can't believe he missed it. He's saying to himself, I doubt I'm going to see that again. Look at it, pitch 5, right down the middle.
1 ball, 2 strikes. 2-2 now. By the way, in that Dodger-Giant game, Clayton Kershaw is through 7 innings, has 9 strikeouts, and only 1 hit. He's throwing a shutout there. Madison Bumgarner gave up 4 runs, 3 earned, and 5 2/3. That's a called strike 3 right down the heart again. And Davis is gone. First time they've gotten him out tonight. So we're about to be all settled in the National League, partner. We know the playoff teams. Dodgers, Mets. That would be the first round division series matchup. Cubs, Pirates at this point would be the wild card game in Pittsburgh. And then the winner of that game would take on the Cardinals in the other division series in the National League. American League is not so clear, especially in the American League West. We know Toronto's in. They have an elimination number of 1 over the Yankees. We know Kansas City is in. They've already secured their division title, and they have the best record in the American League. Oh, by the way, that number's down to 1 because Boston beat New York tonight 10-4. So the Blue Jays can seal that one up. Their game against Baltimore was postponed tonight.
Yeah, the Angels a half a game behind Houston.
That's the one.
Yep, Minnesota game and a half. I'll tell you, Houston and Minnesota, 2 of the biggest surprises in all of baseball.
Rangers won tonight. They beat Detroit 7-6. So Texas has a lead in the American League West, 2 games over Houston. Angels are 2.5 back, and then that wild card race involves those teams as well. Yankees have the top wild card spot, and then Houston still a half game ahead of the Angels. Houston won again today, their 3rd straight win, their 2nd straight road win, which was the concern. Astros, no, I beg your pardon, they're still playing today. The game's 4-4 in the 8th. I misread that. I believe Mike Fiers started that game today. He did. He went 5 2/3 with 3 earned runs. Will not factor in the decision. So yeah, they're still tied at 4 in Seattle in the 8th. Astros, Mariners. As Santana draws the walk.
There you go, laying off that slider. That's what he's going to have to be able to do. They're just going to continue to throw that pitch off the corner. This time he lays off of it.
Hey, a reminder that Fox Sports Wisconsin is proud to partner with Girls on the Run Greater Milwaukee to empower girls to be healthy and confident. Join us for the Girls on the Run Fall 5K Sunday, November 15th at Bayshore Town Center in Glendale. To register, visit foxsportswisconsin.com. Click on the upcoming events tab. Here is Segura. He has been the star offensively tonight for the Brewers. RBI double in the 1st. 2-run home run in the 6th. Two hits, 3 RBIs, 49 RBIs for the year. Look out, up and in. And Segura, a little stare down.
Yeah, he's seen a few too many of those in his short career. And not even close. Of course, you know, you see the catcher back there, Hedges, setting up on the outside corner. I think that one just got away from him.
Hedge is out for a word with Kelly. Kelly has racked up a ton of strikeouts. Well, let's see. Maybe something's wrong with him here. Now the athletic trainer's on his way out.
Yeah, the way he fell off the mound and started walking around, you wonder if something's going on. Catcher went out there right away.
Says I'm fine.
Just
Why all the fuss?
Just lost my balance. I'm okay.
Now Pat Murphy comes out. John Kelly says, everybody get off my mound. Yeah, something wasn't right there, though. First the catcher went out. Tried to shoo him away. Then the athletic trainer came out. He shooed him away. And then the manager came out.
A little more difficult to shoo him away.
All right, back at it. 2-0 the count to Segura. Brewers lead by a run. And a slider strike. That's what he was looking for.
When you were catching in college, you ever get shooed away by the pitcher?
No.
No?
No, but I didn't go out there much. Just minding my own business.
Didn't have anything to tell him?
I don't have anything to say. I did, I do believe in this wholeheartedly. And I don't want to upset any amateur coaches out there, but I was allowed to call my own game behind the plate, and I know that's not common practice in college ball anymore, and I can't stand it. High school ball too.
I agree. How are they supposed to learn, right?
You gotta be able to call your own game. I mean, I felt like that was a real strength. I mean, that was the fun part of the game,
right?
Despite being a strength.
Working with a pitcher.
And there's no way a coach can see what you can see behind the plate. And I think every coach feels like he can call a better game than his catcher, but you got to allow that player to learn the position.
Right.
Allow him to learn the position,
especially at that level. I mean,
best to talk him through it between innings than to try to call a game for him. And then you stop thinking.
Yeah, you got to learn. You got to learn how to play the game, and calling a game is one of the most important thing a catcher does.
Ground ball to short. Jerko will start a double play on his own. So a 6-3 double play. Segura's out. And the inning is over. Davey remembers story right there. Thank you, Jeff. There is Dick Enberg and Mark Grant and Mark Grant's head is so shiny.
I just texted him, smile, you're on our show. And sure enough, he's smiling.
I wonder if the guys in the truck have the video of Mark Grant dancing with Dick Enberg. Completely oblivious. It's one of my favorite things to watch on YouTube, the hilarious Mark Grant. Michael Reed's going to come into the game in right field. That moves Santana over to left field, and Upton on the ground to short. Gene Segura makes a play. Justin Upton retired. Remember, he was at the plate when Melvin was picked off. This is it right here, Rock. Have you seen this?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Jump around. That was in Milwaukee, and he runs over to the booth. He's the greatest.
I think you're talking about the one he had with Enberg.
Yeah, there is one of those. Yeah. There's another one of those out there. You can just Google Mark Grant dance on YouTube. And you will cry laughing. It's so great. Every time I'm feeling sad, I just put that on. Here's Jed Jerko. One man out, 8th inning. Jeffress pitching in his 2nd inning now.
One of the funniest men I know, Mark Grant.
One of the great characters of the game. You ever seen him do his umpire impressions?
Oh, yeah. Seen him do everything,
gosh.
yeah.
Ground ball to third. That's fair. Nice pickup, Sardinas. And the long throw right on the money. 2 up and 2 down. 2 ground outs.
Brewers looking for 2 innings out of Jeremy tonight. And a bunch of right-handed batters. See if Craig Counsell sticks with him here with the left-hander coming up.
Jeremy took a peek in that dugout. He had the fisheye going just to see, and Counsell says let it ride here. Corey Spangenberg will bat with 2 away. 1-run game. The Brewers took the lead on a Segura 2-run homer in the 6th. Jorge Lopez, who made his major league debut, is still in line for the win. No balls and a strike. Spangenberg had 2 hits tonight. A single and a triple. There's a strike. 0-2 the count. Oh, what a nasty breaking ball. Down goes Spangenberg, and how about that effort by Jeremy Jeffress? 2 scoreless innings for Jeffress. 2 strikeouts. We go to the 9th. Presented by Potawatomi Hotel and Casino. Book your stay now. 4-3 Brew Crew. They lead the Padres as we head to the top of the 9th inning. And Milwaukee getting 2 scoreless innings out of Jeremy Jeffress. Very impressive. John Edwards is on the pitch for the Friars. And the Brewers taking the lead in the 6th inning, which has Jorge Lopez, who made his major league debut here tonight, in the winner's circle right now. He went 5 innings and 3 runs. He struck out 7. Good showing. Outpitched Tyson Ross. And let's see if the Brewers can get to the finish line now. They're set up with K-Rod down there.
And John Edwards making his 10th appearance. He was acquired by the Padres on August 21st from the Rangers. That was an August 18th trade as a player to be named later that sent Will Venable to the Rangers.
Here's Sardinius, who the Brewers acquired from the Rangers. Part of the Giovanni Gallardo deal.
Clean-shaven Luis Sardinius. I barely recognize him today.
He looks even younger than his 22 years. And a shot down the right field line. That is a foul ball. And a swing and a miss. Struck him out. Edwards and Sardinius certainly would have been teammates up and down that Rangers minor league system. And one gets the better of the other here. A strikeout for Edwards. Out number 1 here in the 9th inning.
He's had a difficult time. Has Sardinius laying off that down and in breaking pitch.
Here's Maldonado. 0 for 3. And a curveball in there. Buckled his knees for strike 1. Maldonado helped navigate Lopez to his first game in the big leagues. And a little half swing, able to check it. Had one to hit.
He did. Hanging slider up. You can see the reaction of a hitter when he knows he missed a good pitch. You don't get many of those to hit.
Martin Maldonado with 1 away. And a ground ball foul. Every time we come to Petco Park, it reminds me of our first encounter, Rock. I'm sure it's one of the highlights of your career. You remember when the job was open and they were doing auditions for the job? I was one of the broadcasters that the Brewers brought in to audition. There's a swing and a miss. And so what we did was we sat in the conference room and we put headsets on and we called a game from the prior season, the 2006 season at Petco Park.
Yeah.
And Derek Turnbow pitched in that game.
Yep. Khalil Green hit a home run in that little thing we did, yeah.
And so every time we come here, I always think about that. I always think about that mock game that we did with those Kirk Gowdy headsets. Like
that wasn't easy work for you, but you did a nice job.
Oh,
Good enough to get the gig.
We were just.
We should do that in the offseason.
We should. That would be fun.
Let's do the 9th inning against the Cardinals on Sunday. Let's do that game.
That was such a strange experience to call the game that it already happened, but. And then they sent Doug Melvin in for me to interview, and they recorded it. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know anything about. I knew very little about the team, but not. I didn't know I was going to be doing all that.
Right.
I remember calling play-by-play of this mock game. We're doing this as Lucroy fouls it back, and then all of a sudden a Derek Turnbow soundbite came in. Remember? So I didn't know what to do, and I'd never heard Derek Turnbow speak. I had no idea, but he looked kind of like a dude. Mm-hmm. So I just started imitating what I thought he sounded like, and like, doing him a pretty good job, and giving 110%.
That's what he did.
And you're laughing. And I was like, they're gonna kick me out of this chair so fast. But I'll never forget that. That was December of 2006.
Yeah.
That season had just ended, and you're sitting there having to go through all these audition games.
I had a good time. I did. I knew I had the job. I was having a blast.
Watching us sweat and squirm, and just reminded me about when we saw David Stearns today, and how, the new general manager going through all those intensive interviews, and certainly mine was nothing like that. But he's never going to forget his first week on the job, and here he is at Petco, and Petco will have be a great memory for him because it's the first time he ever saw the Brewers play live as the Brewers GM.
Yeah.
Petco Park.
Had a lot of input in that decision.
Well, thanks for choosing me, Ron.
And you got it anyway.
Here's the 1-2. Lucroy pinch hitting, and down he goes. So a 3-up, 3-down inning. We go to the bottom of the ninth. K-Rod coming up. Padres final road series of the year tonight. Game 1 of this 3-game series. Trying to get loud here, those who have remained at Petco Park. The Brewers are 3 outs away from securing a first Major League win for Jorge Lopez tonight. K-Rod on to try to close it out. He's looking for number 38.
Yeah, pitched on Sunday. Only faced one batter, got him out for number 37. He's got the bottom of the order for the Padres coming up. 59 strikeouts in just 55 innings this year. He's blown only 2 saves. And look at the opponent batting average, only 191. 7, 8, 9 coming up. You're going to see some pinch hitters.
Derek Norris will lead off for San Diego. The pinch hit for Austin Hedges. K-Rod 7th on the all-time list, 385 career saves. He is trying to track down Dennis Eckersley, and it's possible. There are only 6 games left. He is 5 behind Eckersley. It'd have to be a significant run here, but who knows? First ball swinging is Norris. K-Rod now with 7 seasons of 30 or more saves. Made the All-Star team this year, back-to-back All-Star teams for the National League in a Brewers uniform. Made a name for himself just up the road in Anaheim. Back in 2002, burst onto the scene, part of that World Series champion Angels ball club, and he's still at it. Feels like he's been around forever, but K-Rod, by closer standards, is still a young man, and he's reinvented himself with his changeup, so he could certainly take the path of a Trevor Hoffman, who became a changeup closer.
He's young age-wise, but he's got a lot of pitches in that arm. That right arm has been worked quite a bit. Short period of time, and 3 outs away from another one, 38.
K-Rod's only 33 years of age. He'll turn 34 in January. He was 20 when he first came to the big leagues. He is approaching 1,000 innings in the major leagues. He'll probably cross that threshold next season. Still the single season record holder for saves. 2008 he saved 62. Significant accomplishments in the game.
And relying more on command than velocity. Used to get it up there in the upper 90s. He still had that changeup and slider, but relies more on control on the corners and the changeup. This is changeup time for K-Rod, full count. He's had impeccable control this year.
K-Rod's walks per 9 innings are significantly down from any other point in his career. It's the lowest he's ever been, 1.8 walks per 9. Into right, hit well, but Reed is there to make the play.
Well, you got to hit him to get him out on a night like tonight.
One away for K-Rod.
Air's always heavy. It's cooled off here at Petco tonight, and you have got to hit a blast, gap to gap, to get him out. You know, Segura hit his in the spot. Of course, his would have been out anywhere, but you get him down the lines, you're all right. But you know, gap to gap, around from left field to right, you got to smoke him.
Here's Brett Wallace.
This is a guy that can hit one out in this weather, in these conditions.
K-Rod had a streak of 35 consecutive saves earlier this year. It dated back to an August blown save of last year here in San Diego. And he blew a save here in San Diego in August of 14, and then he went on that great roll of 35 in a row. He's blown 2 this year. That streak of saves was eventually snapped on August 29th. He went over a calendar year. And he's got Wallace down 0-2. Brewers are 2 outs away from back-to-back games with pitchers winning for the first time in the big leagues. David Goforth got the win on Sunday in that comeback against St. Louis. Lopez is in line to do it here tonight. No balls, 2 strikes on Wallace. 1-2. The Dodgers have closed out the Giants. Clayton Kershaw with a 1-hit shutout tonight. 13 strikeouts, and the Dodgers are National League Western Division winners. Kershaw at his best tonight.
Yeah.
16-7, 2.16 ERA. Won't need to pitch him again. I'm sure he'll pitch Sunday just to stay on his turn, but can't imagine they would want to push him too deep.
Yeah, he will just get loose and get out of there.
2-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Maldonado's got to secure it at first. He does so. And Frankie Rodriguez with a strikeout for his second out. He just stuck with the changeups on Wallace, and it finally paid off.
Yeah, on 0-2, he threw 2 changeups down in the dirt. Wallace took both of them, but wasn't convinced he was going to throw another one. He did, and swung at another one in the dirt. So did not get a fastball on that at bat, did Brett Wallace. Started him out with a curveball, then nothing but changeups.
So here is Jankowski, 9th place hitter. Padres have their pitcher batting 8th. Jankowski's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Swing and a miss. A fastball from K-Rod. That's the thing about K-Rod this year. He has been, it seems, 1 step ahead of the hitter. When they're looking off speed, he throws a fastball, and vice versa.
And he's able to throw them for strikes when they take them. When they swing at him, they're normally out of the strike zone.
Changeup.
Good changeup.
Boy, that was beautiful. That is a signature pitch. His changeup is improving.
Yeah. Big arm action on it. Looks like he wants to throw one through a brick wall, just never gets there.
I mean, I don't want to say it's Trevor Hoffman like yet, but it's trending that way.
Well, you never want to say that here, though.
Padres down to their last strike, and a swing and a high fly ball, shallow, long run. Schaefer is there, and the ball game is over. The Brewers win. Frankie Rodriguez with the save, and Jorge Lopez picks up his first major league win. Gene Segura, the star offensively, with 3 runs batted in, including a 2-run homer that gave the Brewers the lead in the 6th inning. Congratulations to Jorge Lopez, winning in his major league debut. He beats Tyson Ross. Boy, what a memory for him. 4-3 the final score. The Brewers win it. And it's time for Brewers Live now. We got a lot coming up on Brewers Live. First, let's send it to Jeff Grayson. He's in our Fox Sports Wisconsin studio.